Hi, it's Colin McClelland, Editor-in-Chief of the Northern Miner. I'm in London at the International Metals Symposium with Stephen Lecce, Ontario Minister of Energy and Mines. Minister, welcome. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks so much, Colin.
Great. Now, the province has passed a new law, accelerating major projects that follows $500 million in a critical minerals fund. And then in October, you launched the One Project, One Process framework for accelerating, fast-tracking mining projects. Tell me how that's supposed to work and what mining executives can look forward to for their projects.
I think first off, what we're really doing is we're reimagining a regulatory regime that gets to yes. We're building certainty and confidence in the markets, and we're reorienting the public service to move with the bias of action in this new world order. I think global investors, policymakers, First Nations, workers, everyone should heed this message from the province and Premier of Ontario, that we are moving at an unprecedented speed to unlock opportunity and jobs for the province and to really ensure the triumph of ethical resources to the world.
Now, one of your goals is to reduce permitting to about 2 years, more or less.
Right.
And how is that going to be done? You're working with Ottawa maybe to align permitting processes.
So first off, I inherited as minister one of the slowest permitting systems in the OECD. We were the second slowest.
Right.
On average, it can take upwards of 15 years from start to finish to open a mine, and yet in comparative other Commonwealth or democratic experiences in Australia or in the UK, you could do it in half the time. We saw in Canada provinces being able to open mines in 8 or 9 years. And so my point and my function is to be that challenge function within government to say we can do better. And thus we brought forth a bill, sweeping reform to cut the regulatory timeline by 50%. The average will be 24 months. That average baseline, just to compare as we sit in London, England today, the EU in post-President Trump reform is 27 months. So we have a more nimble system. We have more resources on the table to catalyze private capital investment, $500 million processing fund, in addition to funding to support Indigenous equity participation. We are literally throwing everything at this with a real whole of government effort to get these resources out of the ground and to create value-added jobs back home. And so yes, the new reform will reduce the timeline, it will improve your speed and efficiency, and I think it will send a signal that we're not just creating the authority, we're now using it. We've already authorized the first project, North America's largest lithium mine.
Right, with Frontier Lithium, the PAC project in northwestern Ontario. Can you tell me a bit about that and why it gained the #1 spot?
Well, first off, lithium is a really important resource in global markets. It is controlled. There's a stranglehold of Chinese dominance of this resource. And I think broader to my earlier point, Colin, just about the importance of ethical resources, I think supply chains want dependable, democratic nations to step up. And of course, we have what the world is seeking when it comes to critical minerals or golds or rare earths or other forms of metals. And so we made a commitment to use the One Project, One Process designation. We implemented this, turned it around from law, introduction of law, to the passage, to the consultation, to the regulation, all within 3 or 4 months. No government on earth, certainly democratic, could move at that speed. And so I think the message is that we mean business and that we are open for business. And so that mines designation is important because it includes a net new mine, a large scale mine. It includes a mill, and it includes downstream conversion. It is literally the one-stop shop, the whole inclusive economic benefit for Canada, from the raw material extraction right down to the manufacturing production of the battery. That is a win for the country. We're talking about tens of billions of dollars over the course of that mine, over the life cycle of that mine, north of 30 to 40 years. And it's a signal that through collaboration with the business and private sector, we can move mountains and we can move with speed. This project could be open as soon as 2 years from now.
Now, for some companies that maybe aren't quite as advanced as PAC and Frontier Lithium, what can they look forward to from the province, perhaps in some incentives, when they're just kind of getting their junior companies, their exploring companies off the ground?
Yeah, we expanded the Ontario Juniors program for this exact purpose. So we actually almost doubled it on the basis that we want to incentivize the next generation of exploration in the north. First off, the north of Ontario, just for context for folks watching around the world, It is massive. We're talking about, Northern Ontario is akin to, France. It's almost at that scale of size.
Sure.
And so what I mean by underscoring the square kilometers and the vastness is that much of it is actually, there's an unknown and an opportunity. I mean, just in the Ring of Fire, of up to 7,000 square kilometers, it's the world's largest multi-commodity undiscovered resource deposit.
Now, to sum up, maybe you want to touch on Ontario's hydroelectric potential or energy potential, and just giving maybe your 30-second elevator pitch for why people and investors should be interested in Ontario.
We have one of the most affordable electricity systems in the entire Great Lakes region. We are one of the only jurisdictions in North America that has net power. We're producing clean power. We have one of the most cleanest grids on Earth, roughly 85% upward. We're going to get to 99% non-emitting because we're expanding nuclear and hydroelectricity. In the north, we're co-locating more hydropower, more transmission capacity to ensure we have the really the power source to drive this type of innovation. So affordability, expansion, we're thinking ahead. We're building the largest nuclear program on the continent. We're doing it on time and on budget to de-risk costs for industry and ratepayers. And we're frankly embracing the best of Canada, building a Canadian can-do fleet that supply chain with uranium from Saskatchewan and processed in Ontario. So it's a great success story for the country and our economy.
That's fantastic. Stephen Lecce, Minister of Energy and Mines for Ontario. Thanks very much for chatting. I'm Colin McClelland with the Northern Miner in London.